Alright, I'm back again sooner than I was anticipating, probably because I expected last chapter to be the last chapter of MHA for the year, but it seems like they wanted to come and drop another sleeper on us. So here I am back again. I'm on low battery, so I'm gonna just make this one really quick for the most part, but some interesting stuff does happen in this chapter and I'm gonna try to touch on it in the end. Anyway, if you guys like my Hero content, make sure to subscribe. And as I said before, and as I say in every video, I'm going to be touching on other stuff. I've already started touching on Boruto and JJK, so make sure you check out my Boruto review of the last chapter, and let's get into it. Alright, so we open a chapter inside the Vestige world, and we see that the Vestiges are kind of trying to come up with a game plan on how to defeat Shigaraki. Yoichi mentions that this is a battle between the new generation, and I'm not saying that we need to put an end to Shigaraki. That's the only reason why we're here. Now, I'm questioning what does she mean by put an end to him, because she had that whole spiel with Deku about saving him, so I don't know if she means ending him like forever or just ending his reign of terror, which I don't really know how they could do anyway. Wait, hold on, looks like I goofed. It looks like the speech bubble's actually going towards Yoichi. My bad on that one. But still, the question remains. But Daigoro Banjo proceeds to add that the odds are against them. They gotta find a way to deal with his regeneration, because honestly that's like the biggest factor outside of the strength and the decay. At this point, his regeneration is his like biggest factor against Deku winning. And while this conversation is going on, we see that Shinomura's danger sense is going off, and as we anticipated from the last chapter with when we saw that his quirk was taken, we actually see what happens inside the Vestige world where Shigaraki is reaching in to literally snatch the Vestiges, and it looks like at this point he's strong enough to take all of them, but Shinomura sacrifices himself so that the others can escape, which, honestly, you might have sold this fight, my guy. Like, you had the most powerful quirk that Deku was using at that time. I know Danger Sense seems like a minor deal, but that's like the only thing that has kept Deku in the fight this whole time is the fact that he could dodge Shigaraki's attacks. So now that Shigaraki will be able to dodge his attacks, he kind of sold this. Anyway, after he's taken, we actually jump back to the present where we saw in the last chapter that Danger Sense has been stolen. And Shigaraki's a little curious because he's like, oh, is this a power that my master's been searching for all this time? And he's kind of like, whatever, which I guess kind of answers my question last time, but it still doesn't answer one of my other questions because it seems like he just takes this quirk just so Deku can stop fighting back against him. But at the same time, when he touched him, he could just decayed him, so I have no idea why he didn't just kill him there. But he says, I couldn't care less about this, I just want to make killing you easier. Which, again, contradicts itself, but whatever. And Daigoro Banjo, who's in complete shock, is like, it happened so fast. That means his hatred is stronger than all of us combined. And Deku's still trying to go on the offensive by combining all his quirks to create that black chain effect, but with the added effect of Year Shift now. But the problem is, now Shigaraki is using Danger Sense, which I said was going to happen. And now he's blocking all of his attacks, and he's like, oh, so this is how you've been dodging my attacks this whole time. And Deku's coming to the realization that, oh crap, he's using Danger Sense, which he mastered very quick. But Shigaraki's like, you're still my biggest nuisance, so I'll start with decaying you. Which, bro, you had a shot to do that already. I don't know. I'm not gonna let it get to me. Anyway. So Shigaraki's now going on the full offensive because there's nothing stopping him from actually landing a hit on Deku. The only thing Deku could really do is use his black whip to kind of create a kind of armor around him, but he can't attack him in any way because he can sense his attacks now. And the whole time this is happening, Shigaraki is just mocking him with the quotes from Deku. It's like, you were crying. I won't pretend I didn't see you. You're stuck in the past, Midoriya. You're still trying to treat me as a human being. Open your eyes. That's not who I am anymore. And Deku, who's looking really ragged right now, is pushed to his limit. He's bleeding, and he's coming to the realization that all he could really do to fight right now is cover himself in multiple layers of black whip so he can avoid fatal wounds. And even the mask that he's been wearing since Season 1 has finally started to crack and fall apart. And Bruce, who's kind of impressed at the fight that's been going on, to think you equipped it just to keep breathing as the waves hit you. And look at where we are now, you two are on another level. As Deku looks behind him and sees that he's been pushed all the way to Mount Fuji. This fight has literally started at the shore and they've been fighting all the way to, what, like the middle of the continent? I'm not exactly sure where Mount Fuji is. I know it's in Japan, obviously, but I don't have the time to kind of like look up exactly where it is to figure out the map of where he started fighting, but maybe one of you guys in the comments could let me know how far they've been fighting. Anyway, Bruce continues to tell him that even though he's taken Shinomura, that it doesn't affect the quirk itself, that his strength still remains. That the strength from the quirk actually comes from All for One, and that their quirks don't actually pertain to his strength levels. which I guess kind of answered my question from the last chapter because I was under the impression that it was all one for all. So I guess that now that he's kind of said it, so it is several quirks in one body, which then adds more questions, but I'm not going to get into that. And N, who's probably never seen a battle to this caliber in his life before, he's getting a little worried. He's kind of like, yo, why isn't he using his super strength to like run away? And Banjo is kind of looking at him like, N? And he begins to have a full meltdown and saying, Shinamura-san was able to protect us thanks to Danger Sense, but if a knight gets a touch again, even for a second, there may be no escape for any of us. Which I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be a theme throughout the whole chapter that N is just having a full-on meltdown. And I really think it should have been him. His quirk is probably like the most useless out of their set. And I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna be the one to say it. I'm glad All For One cut him in half.
Why you booing me? I'm right.
But Yuichi also confirms that if they get touch again, that yeah, it's probably gonna be the end of everyone. And it turns out that while they're having this little chit chat, Shigaraki can actually see into the Vestige world. And he's like, oh, you guys discussing running away? That's cute. And he says, you've gotten stronger by feeling and passing your power on to the next user, so I'll destroy all of you right now. There'll be no place left to run. By the end, I'll be a giant in a wasteland, just like Spinner wanted. So the League of Villains wanted this? This is a wasteland? Doesn't sound like fun at all. You can't play League of Legends on a wasteland. And again, this is kind of another contradiction because Spinner's whole thing is he believed in the ideology of Stain. That's why he dresses and looks like him in every way. So Stain doesn't want complete total destruction, and even in his manifesto he just kind of mentioned that he mostly wants heroes to actually be heroes. He's tired of like the fake hero society and their vainness, like I mentioned in my other video. So why would he want total destruction of everything, every good person and everyone in society? It doesn't make any sense. And that's not headcanon, that's like actually what they say, and that's why half the League of Villains even joined Shigaraki in the first place. So yeah, it's a little weird that that is sort of their end goal. Don't worry, those two things are my only ranting points for this chapter. For the most part, I already got all of it out last chapter. And as this fight is going on, we see that Shigaraki is following Deku with a massive decay wave heading their way. And confirms that, yeah, it seems like he led us to Mount Fuji on purpose because if he destroys it, there will be lava everywhere. And at this point, he's no longer the successor of All For One, he's just destruction incarnate. He lives for the joy and breaking it all. And Deku kind of pushed to his last leg. It seems like he's going for a full-on attack because you actually see his gauntlets breaking as he thinks back and says it's part of a bigger picture deep inside. And he thinks back to the words of Ochako that day where they kind of discuss what they should do about both of their respective villains. And he says, I have no clue what's obvious for her. As he thinks, Shigaraki, you are a human, as he gears up for his final strike, it seems. And while this is going on, Shigaraki's looking at him with his danger sense going haywire. So whatever's coming next is going to be a big start to the next chapter. But like that, we have the final chapter of the year. Officially this time, because there's like no time left for them to make any new chapters. So I'm right this time. I was wrong last time. And one more sidebar I forgot to mention in the beginning of the chapter or while it was happening. Gear shift is also finally running out, which the way they described it before, it sounded like it was going to run out after the first usage because they mentioned it like several chapters ago that it was supposed to expire. But I guess that it works on a time frame, so I guess once he deactivates it, then he has to take the break, but I'm not really sure. Hold on, I gotta interject real quick. I was actually researching just to find the manga panel for this, and apparently he does say straight up that this only lasts for 5 minutes, so I have no idea what's going on with this, but as I said, I've already complained enough, so it is what it is. But anyway, as for the chapter review, I want to still give this another 7 out of 10. Honestly, I might be tempted to give this an 8. This is still pretty good chapter-wise. Yeah, there's still the logic points that I mentioned last video, but there's no point in me ranting about it because I think that I've kind of hit all the nails on the head. And this is still a good story for the most part. I just had those issues with everything that was set up prior. There is still like some stuff here there, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. What I'm going to talk about is potentially ways that I think Deku can get out of this, and I know for this stuff is mostly going to be headcanon, so I'm not going to be super mad if it doesn't happen. But one of the things I'm thinking about is, could he potentially make like a smoke screen and then hold Shigaraki down with Black Whip, and then go in for a big attack? We've seen him kind of do that before in the previous war arc, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think it could still work. Or also, could he just go in for a true 100% smash with all his quirk enhancements, because that would be well over like 200%, and get the win, but he's trying not to kill, so that's the only complication with that. And let's not forget the thing I mention every chapter, which I'm actually astounded they have not cut away to it yet. But Aizawa and President Mike with Shirakumo / Kurigiri, they could enter the fight and kind of create potentially an opening for Deku to win. Or maybe Monoma could come back. There's a couple ways Deku can win this, but right now it's looking like the author kind of just wants it to be a solid 1v1, which I don't really know how Deku could really compete against Shigaraki. He's going up against like a full stack power right now, and to be honest, if Shigaraki actually knew how to use all the quirks in All for One, he would have won this like almost immediately. Even with Danger Sense, there's no way Deku should be keeping up with him to this extent. But I just know if it does end in the next arc with one just huge attack, I'm gonna hate the series forever. I would not want it to end with one big attack, especially since we've barely gotten to see Deku and Shigaraki fight. And you will hear me complain about that. But right now, I don't think that's what they're going for. I think he's probably gonna do a big attack and then more stuff is gonna happen. Potentially, it's gonna probably end in the Vestige world because I believe all these quirks are gonna end up rebelling against him. And there might potentially give All for One to Deku, or there might just not exist at all. Both of those quirks might just be completely eradicated off the planet, or maybe Deku will eventually reach Shimura Tenko. And I'm also curious to see what will the effects of Gear Shift be after he turns it off, because seemingly after this next big attack, he's probably going to be unable to fight after that. So he might turn Gear Shift off, and I wonder if after that, if he just potentially won't be able to breathe, or that will just be the end of the fight, or maybe someone else will have to tag in, because I don't foresee, from what they've let up, that Deku can continue fighting after Gear Shift ends. It sounds like he's going to need to take a break for quite a while. Anyway, that's all I have for now. Thank you again, since this will actually be the last video I'll make for a while. I wasn't anticipating making this, but thanks again for all the support for the last couple months and since I've started the channel. I've been really appreciative to see it grow every day, and every time I tell someone a number, it's already gone up by like another few more. But I still have more to grind. I still have a lot further to go. But the small achievements are still to be appreciated. So thank you guys, and hope you all stay safe, my ninjas, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Peace. Oh, also, this should either be out on New Year or on New Year's Eve, or 2 days before New Year. It should be out around New Year's time, so Happy New Year's to you guys as well.